Well, here I go again. I've done something that I haven't done very many times, if I've ever done it. I think I've probably done it before, but it's not for a good while. I changed the video that had already written a blurb earlier this morning. But then I started reading something after that, and after a very busy day, I'm finally getting it recorded, and the title is The Justinian Deception. I had planned another topic. However, after reading this 18-page article by Romley Stewart, I want to share a bit about what was uncovered and reported. Many parts of this have been provided by other researchers, but this one put it together in a manner that I haven't seen before that I recall. It begins with detailed discussion about the grammatical appearances of language using all caps dog Latin instead of actual English. It may look like English, but it's not. It's legalese, a deception conceived by Emperor Justinian, pushed by the Vatican, financed by the City of London, and enforced in more recent times by the United States. Bankers, attorneys, judges, politicians, clerics, and others who have ravaged the world for generations are exposed. Who was it who said, "You shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free"? Of course, it was ascribed to Jesus. This I know. It's time for all of us to be re-educated in truth, so that the dominion of lies can finally be brought to an end. I said it's an 18-page document. It was probably 30, twice that much. I took out all the pictures, and there were a lot of pictures, and cut it down to an 18-page document, changing the size of the fonts except for the heading, to 12-point fonts, and I consolidated it as much as possible to get it to 18 pages. This is something that I wish there was a way I could send it to everybody that wanted to read it so that you could. Maybe there is a way, and I just don't know it yet. But in any case, this is some of the foundational truths and the revelations that we need to know if we're going to get out of the bondage and slavery and the unjust system that we've been brought into by these charlatans acting as the emperor of Rome, the popes, the bankers, the politicians, as I said in the blurb. These are people that have taken advantage of our own ignorance and used it to enrich themselves, empower themselves by enslaving us. And in a sense, part of this goes back to the biblical times of the story of the Garden of Eden, when Adam chose not to obey God, chose knowledge over obedience. I could talk a whole lot about that and my feelings about that, because I don't think knowledge is a bad thing, but there was something that happened there that betrayed man's trust, where man betrayed his trust in the Creator and believed a liar, giving the liar false dominion. And it's false dominion because everything based on a lie is not real, but yet it affects our reality, or I should say it affects our experience of how we live life. And this, coupled with the Anastasia books, coupled with all these other things, they're now being brought into my frame of reference and into my reminding me to focus on what's going to happen to bring the new world about that we've wanted, longed for, and been deprived of for generation after generation after generation of our human experience. I mean, there's so much here. There's no way I can do a short video but it talks about birth certificates for one thing. When I was flipping through the pages there, I saw birth certificates. There's always two birth certificates created, the one of the natural birth and then the corporate one. And the corporate one is the one that they use. And that makes us the slave. That brings us into bondage to their system of control, where we are not given our rights. And again, this is coming from our religious heritage, if you will, our Christian heritage. This is what they did to Christianity. This is what they've done to, before that, to Judaism and the earlier religions, and of course Islam too. And they've created, look at the world that they've created with their lies. Look at it. Isn't it time that we start loving one another, start obeying the truth, start realizing that we are not all cap letters, that this false language that looks like English isn't what it's put out to be. It's all corrupted. It's all corrupted, folks. Whether it's in English or in Latin or in some other language, it's the corruption of our language that has led to our enslavement. If we followed just the grammatical laws and rules, we would be free people. But we're not, and haven't been for millennia. I don't know how I can get this document into the hands of people. I mean, I don't, it was sent to me as an email. I don't even know that I have a link to the article, that I couldn't provide a link. And it really needs to be put up on numerous web pages so that people can, if they take down one link, there's still alternative links to test. Are they going to take down all of the links? I don't know. But I know this brings to an end. This knowledge of the truth brings to an end the structure that has been so devastating on the human experience and created such havoc on our planet. They depend on ignorance. They depend on war. They depend on things that undermine our highest and best aspirations and deprive us of what was intended in the initial creation, which is something that, again, that I believe Anastasia talked about, and what she revealed and she demonstrated by her own life, which I'm gonna figure out how to get that that presentation that I made Sunday night. I'm gonna figure out how to get that online. Steve, my friend Steve, as I said, recorded it, and I'm gonna hopefully share that tomorrow. And the blurb that I wrote for today's video is gonna wait at least another day beyond that. But I wanna encourage you, as I'm encouraging myself, to let's start looking at and using the remedies that are being provided by these courageous people who are doing the research and putting out the information about the deception, so that we can know the truth and finally end up freeing ourselves from generations, generation after generation of enslavement. Don't you want to be free? I know I do. And I even want the people that are playing the roles as bankers and politicians and clerics and all the other things, that attorneys. I'd like to see everybody set free so that we could experience that which I've envisioned since I was a boy. Thank you for listening, and pray for one another. Thank you. Namaste.